just in case there's one or two people who haven't done this before, what we're doing is we're warming up our instruments mentally and physically, and we're using a different key every week. And this week's key is E flat major, which means C for those on tenor saxophones and G for alto. I won't mention the transposing instruments again. You all know what you're doing. So I'm going to put on the screen a sheet of the exercises we're going to work through, but they are in concert pitch. So unless you're good at transposing, look at your own sheets for the saxes and so on, and look at the screen if you want for the guitars and other concert instruments such as the violin and any vocalists that might be there, and bass players, of course. So I'm just going to put the screen up now, and pretty much as it was last time, I'm going to gradually vary it over the, depending on how many weeks we carry on with this. We will run out of keys eventually, but I'll change the exercises. We're going to start off anyway, straight away, with just some simple playing single notes. We're going to be playing the note of B flat, and for the guitarists, that's the 6th fret of the E string. We're going to start on that particular B flat, because of course there are other options. And I've got a metronome, so I'm going to put it onto 80 beats a minute, and we're just going to do the first bar, nice and simple. We're just going to literally play crotchets. I'm going to start, you join in when you're ready. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to get the timing as precise as possible. I can blame the internet if it's a bit out of time. And good. Okay, well that's crotchets on the beat. Now we're going to play quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so down up for the guitarists, and so on. And here we go. So quavers. I'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. You join in when you're ready. Two, three, and stop. Lovely. Right, now what we're going to do is put two together. So we're just going to do 1 bar of crotchets, 1 bar of quavers, 1 bar of crotchets, 1 bar of quavers, and just keeping the 2. So the first 2 bars as written, but repeated. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. No quavers. Last time, finish on the B flat. Obviously, you can use other techniques if you want to, especially if you're on a different instrument, different ways of blowing and so on. So, as I'm sure you all now know, nobody else can hear you, so you can actually play exactly what you want. That might be different length notes, for example. We're going to move on to triplets. So for every beat on the metronome, we play 3 equally spaced triplet quavers. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So just the third bar now. Triplets, triplet quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I said this last week, actually. Saxophone players, please take a breath every now and again. Right. Let's do those first 3 bars, the little sequence now. So we're going to do bars 1, 2, and 3, and then repeat that. So crotchets, quavers, triplets, crotchets, quavers, triplets. 1 bar of each. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Quavers. Triplets. Crotchets, sorry. Quavers. Triplets. Crotchets. And finish. Sorry, I did an extra bar triplets there. That was unintentional. But okay, let's move on to last bar now on the top line. Semi-quavers, where we play 16 notes in a bar and 4 notes per beat. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So let's just do semi-quavers on their own this time. And this does take a lot of breath for the blowers and the techniques, of course, for the others. So it's really the trickiest bit. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, and stop. That's great. Now we're just going to string them all together. The funny thing is I've got the heads of guitarists on the screen next to my sheet of paper here. Of course, when a guitarist is playing something like that, their head is just motionless. So it doesn't look like they're doing anything. So I need to get 1 or 2 sax players and other instruments into the picture. Then it looks like there's activity going on. Or there's someone drinking a cup of tea there as well. Okay, good. So you can never tell if a guitarist is playing when you can only see his head. Now, I think what we'll do is, rather than string them all together exactly as shown, we're going to do 2 bars of each. So 2 bars of crotchets, 2 bars of quavers, 2 bars of triplets, 2 bars of semi-quavers, and then loop that top line. So just doubling up the number of bars, 2 bars of each note length, and then repeat the line. So here we go. We're still on 80 beats a minute, so nice steady tempo. 1, 2, 3 crotchets, and another bar. Quavers, 2 bars. Triplets. Now semi-quavers. And repeat. Oops. Quavers. Triplets. Semi-quavers. And again. One more time through crotchets. Quavers. Triplets. Semi-quavers. And finish on the note. Whoa, fast enough of that note, flat. Okay, let's move on now to the chromatic scale. And the chromatic scale, as you know, is the every semitone, every note, starting on the root note and all the way up to the next one, next octave. So that's 12 semitones in total. And that is for the guitarist on the screen. Ukulele players, I'm sure you can work out your own tab, slightly different. Bass players can use this tab as it's works on both instruments, and the rest of you can read music, which is good. Okay, so we're going to start with our first fingers, the guitarist, on fret 6 of the E string, and then you can see there's a 4. This pattern was originally written out for guitarists, as you can see, as a way of stretching out the fingers. So it stretches over the 4 frets. And the further it moves up the neck, or down the neck rather, on the next strings, the wider the frets get, the more the stretch gets. And you gradually increase the stretching ability of your fingers. Of course, you can carry on right across the neck, but I'm just going 1 octave here. So we're going to do, this is the B flat chromatic ascending scale, ascending from B flat to B flat, every semitone. And we're going to do it at the same speed until you're tired of 80 beats a minute, and I'll change it. So everyone join in and straight in with the chromatic scale, just the ascending, first 2 bars of that line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And finish. The astute amongst you will notice that I've written it out actually in quavers rather than crotchets, although you played crotchets. So just play it at the beat of the metronome. That was merely to get all the notes on the screen. So we're literally as crotchets, not as quavers. Same again then. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. This time, if you want to sing, if you've not got something in your mouth at the time, sing the notes as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time singing. Hey, what 80 beats a minute is going to drive you nuts after a while, so I'm going to knock it up to 100. Now that you've learnt the pattern, we go a little bit faster then, well, 20% faster, 25% faster. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just one for luck, up to 120. So now another 20% higher, up to 120 beats a minute. Once going up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the ascending scale. Let's do the descending scale now. So guitarists, get your fingers on the right frets. Everybody else, get ready to start on your root note. The octave up though, because we're coming down. So we're back to 80 beats a minute. And we're coming down from the octave. So we're on the second 2 bars of that line. So descending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now this time we're going to go all the way up and all the way down, and when we get to the top, we're not going to repeat the top note, just descend immediately. So up the scale and then down the chromatic scale, starting on the low note. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Straight down. Okay, now, like a lot of things when you're practicing, especially with a metronome, it's good to just increase the speed, as long as you can still play it accurately, increase the speed gradually, maybe at 10 beats a minute increments. So we're just going to do the same thing up and down at 90 now. So imagine you was a slow walk up and down a hill. Now we're going to walk a little bit more briskly up and down. Here we go, from 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. Now that might have felt straightforward. It might have been tricky, but we're going to do so a little bit faster. We're going to do a couple of quicker ones, and then we'll move on to the next part of the warm-up. So we're now up to 110 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Why don't we do just one very quick one at 140, just for your own self-satisfaction. If you can do it, it'd be great. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. Right. Okay. Well, it warms up the fingers as well as the brain, and that's one of the important things about doing this. But that's the chromatic scale. Now moving on to old B flat major itself, and I just need to move the screen down so you can see it. So the concert players, B flat major is now at the top of the screen, and with the tab underneath the guitarists. Just the first two bars. The first bar is the ascending. Again, I've written it as quavers just to squeeze it in, but we're going to be playing it as crotchets on the beat to start with, at least. And okay, so B flat major, its distinction is that it's got two flats, B flat and E flat in the scale. So you start on B flat. When you reach the E note, you play an E flat, of course, and carry on to B flat. So here we go. We're just going to go back to 80 beats a minute. And just play one octave of the E flat major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Again, let's do that again. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can all do that. That's good. Let's do the descending scale now. So the same scale, descending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 2, 3, 4. again. 2, 3, 4. Right, let's do what we did with the chromatic scale, and that is to go up and down. So we're going to get B flat up to the octave B flat, descend without repeating the top note, and back down to the bottom. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. And finish. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, and a little bit faster. Obviously, all these exercises are things that you can carry on doing afterwards if you want. And I'm just knocking up to 100 beats a minute, a little bit faster. So up and down. Tell you what, let's go up and down, up and down, up and down 3 times without stopping. When you get to the bottom, straight up again. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And down. Back up again. Down. And last time up and down. And finish. So that's the B flat major scale, just 1 octave up and down. Now on the sheet, after that, I've broken the scale down into 5 note segments. I've just called them half scales. It's not a technical term, it's just my name for it. First of all, starting on the root note, that will be just B flat up to the F, and then and back down to B flat. And then starting on the second note of the scale, then starting on the third. So you can see that the pattern is getting higher and higher. You can make up all sorts of patterns based on a scale to give yourself some interest when practicing a scale. And this is just one particular one. We've done it a couple of times before. And I'm just going to do the first 3. I've written out the rest of them for you to practice in your own time if you want. But first of all, we're just going to play from B flat up to the F. So that's the first 5 notes. Then immediately descend onto the B and finish on the B flat. So let's just play B flat up to the same scale, of course, up to F and back down again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Still got high speed. Down to 80. More time to think. B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. F and down. There we go. Let's just do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we take that same B flat major scale, but start on the second note of the scale, which is C, and then the R13 on the sheet of paper, and do the half scale starting on the second, end up going as far as G. Sax players, of course, you know, you're doing something slightly different. So starting on the second degree of the scale, which is the thing that's common to all of us. So we're doing, here we go, starting on the second note of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 2, 3, 4. Last time, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's just move on to the third degree of the scale. We're not going to do all of these, they're just there for you to take away. So we're going to start on the third degree of the scale, which is the D for guitarists and pianos and violins, and either an E or a B for the other guys. So starting on the 5th fret of the A string for the guitars. So it's the 3rd of the scale that we're starting on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 2, 3, 4. And last time, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. All right, let's just string them together, and we're just going to do the half scale starting on the root, half scale starting on the 2nd, half scale starting on the 3rd. Exactly as written, actually, from bar 11 down to bar 16. So let's go. Exactly as written, apart from the crotch is not quavers. Here we go. 1 on the root, 3, 4. 2 from the 2nd. From the 3rd. Good. And so on. So as an exercise, give you something to think about, perhaps if you haven't done that one before. All right, just going to move on now because we're only got a couple of minutes, few minutes left. So the last thing I'd like to do is to just get some strumming going amongst the guitarists. Oh, hello everybody! I can see new pictures now. And what I need to just get on the screen is a whiteboard so I can stick the chords up. So we're just going to strum some chords. You're all getting good at this, so I'm just going to put all 8 chords up. And then we're just going to strum through them. And G minor. The bass players make up a bass line. Single note instruments, the monophonic guys. You can do whatever is comfortable within your capabilities. You can play root notes, you could play arpeggios, you could play guide tones, 3rds and 7ths, and make it interesting for yourself. Jazzers, guitarists particularly, make them 7th chords. That would be B flat major 7, F major 7, so on, minor 7. So they're the chords. They are actually all the chords in the key of B flat, apart from I've left out the diminished chord. That's always a tricky one to include. Right, that's for the concert players. The rest of you have got it hopefully written down in front of you. So let's just strum. I'm not going to use a metronome for this. I'm just going to strum along 2 bars of each. When I pick up the tempo, just wait until it gets started. Literally going to strum through those chords. Here we go. 1, not too fast. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. F. G minor. D. C minor. B flat. E flat. And F. Off you go, and again. F, and finish on B flat. There's a big schoolboy error there. That should be D minor. Sorry about that. And that sounded a bit strange. Right, okay. Let's start again with D minor on the fourth bar rather than D major. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's nicer. Go around that again. 2, 3, 4. One more time all the way around, and B. F, sorry, dropped there. G minor, D minor, C minor, B flat, E flat, and F. Finish on B flat. Yeah, sorry about that. Got the mixed out a chord at the end there, but anyway, okay, good. They're all the chords in all the 3 major and the 3 minor chords in the key of B flat. And although I had to make one variation, it's actually based on Pachelbel's Canon in D in B flat. So I had to change one of the chords. But if you listen to Pachelbel's Canon in D, you'll hear a very similar sort of chord sequence, as you would if you listen to something like Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. I'm sure that's where Pachelbel got the idea. Okay, that finishes the warm-up session today. I hope that's warmed you up. That's the main objective. And I'm just going to unmute you. Actually, before I do, just tell you a couple of things. On Sunday at 4 o'clock, we've got Freddie Freeloader's Jazz Jam. So if you want to be involved in that and you haven't had an invite already, please just contact me or Mick Foster, and we can send you a link to join that. And then there'll be another one of these, of course, next week in Friday morning, and it will be a minor key. So that will make a little bit of a change as well. Right, I'm just going to unmute you all, say goodbye, because we've got more happening at 10 o'clock for some of you. And you can all say goodbye to each other. Long goodbye.
Thank you,
Bye all.
Bye, David.
Thanks very much, David. Cheers to everybody.
Right, thanks, Dave, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye, Ray. Bye, everybody.
Bye.